Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Talon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you, through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show has been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Today is back into this mind that never stops musing on creativity for the Creativity Diary instalment number 5. This is the Creative Condition. How are you doing, guys? I hope you're well. Welcome to the show. If you're new, hello, and thank you for joining. This is the Creative Condition. It's a joy to have you on board, listening and tuning in and engaging with this ongoing 15-some-year-long exploration of human creativity as I seek to elevate it in our society. That is the big goal. That is the big goal. I see so much need for creativity, and I'm not talking about artistry. They're very different things, even though they have famed relationship for good reasons. All that music, all that art, all that culture over the years, it's absolutely vital. But when it comes right down to it, we need creativity to survive. And it goes from anything from beautiful art right through to getting through our day with our sanity intact, with some time to think, to thinking on our feet, to adapt into this crazy, crazy world of ours. So that's what you find me doing. Welcome back if you're a regular. Always a joy to have you on board. I really do appreciate it. As I sit here in this little glorified shed in my garden and talk to you guys, it means a lot to have you around. Big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show mentioned in the introduction there, Illustration X. They're a wonderful illustration agency representing a global roster of unbridled talent of animators and illustrators, and they're doing great work for the industry. Been big voices recently in the UK government consultation about AI and copyright. Dark tidings there if we don't challenge that. So I implore you, if you haven't already, to head over to the AOI, that's the Association of Illustrators channels, and fill out their survey, because the more voices that kick back against this proposed loosening of copyright laws, which will open up all of our work to scraping by AI models, then it's going to happen, and it's going to be a wild west out there, and suddenly we're going to lose the IP to our very own work, and I just think that is absolutely criminal. I don't know if you saw Paul McCartney on TV Sunday morning. I can't remember the name of the show he was on, but he was talking about what a damning precedent this would be for us all, for creators to create beautiful art of any kind, and then to immediately lose it because it's been swallowed up by some bot and handed to the corporations who are already making this economy hard enough for us to get by in. I think we all need to fight back against this. So thank you if you already have. Please do take the time. If you haven't, I'll share it again on the socials after this show comes out on Wednesday. But have a look at the AOI, the Association of Illustrators. They've been very vocal, rightly so. It's their bread and butter to support and protect us illustrators, and that's also what Illustration X do. So what have you guys been up to? You might have seen, I did a pit stop on Friday, and it's the first one that I've gone further afield to do in person. I did one of my early ones with Charlie as a musician, and you can see that case study on the coaching section of thecreativecondition.com. But it's the first one where I've travelled to meet someone, and it was excellent. It was in London, and I met up with Satvia, who's a designer, and she also illustrates and makes work in her own time, and she just wanted to realign with her creativity and check in and get that pit stop. That's what it is. That's a very descriptive title for what I'm trying to do, which is help people course correct, check in with where they are, audit everything. We look at frustrations, we look at childhood, we look at sense of humour, we look at your dark side, all those personality traits. We talk about how you feel, what is not working, what has worked in the past and might yet work again. Where do you want to go? How do you want to get there? I'm not going to sort of go this is how you get a promotion. This is the job you should be going for. What I'm going to do is work with you on your foundational elements of creativity. We work through everything. And after that, I go away and I listen back to our conversation and I send you recommended notes. The ones I just finished are about 12 pages worth of a Word document, because I go back through it and I really just pour into it 15 years worth of conscious study and knowledge. And all the things I've learned, while doing this show and while doing campaigns and observing human behaviour, but also my lived experience since I was a kid. I absolutely adore human eccentricity, quirks, character, those things that set every single one of us apart as a unique being, an individual with a lived experience that is the most valuable thing you have for creativity. I help you get in tune with that. I help you point it forward and find the right course for you. So whether you're at a crossroads, whether you're starting out and you're a graduate, there is a graduate offer. The pit stop is available for £400 at the moment. It's going to go up to £600 sooner, end of March. Graduate rate currently £300. That's going to be going up to £400 when it goes back to full price. I'm just trying to get it moving. I love doing them. I really love doing them. It's a very intensive piece of work. We both are going to come away quite tired. It's going to be very candid. It's going to be very open. And then I have to go and do the same amount of time again, which I love doing it. And the isolation of my studio where I can really think and pull together all those bits of knowledge that are going to be relevant and set you on your way. I'm working with clients on a longer term basis off the back of that, so that is also an option. If you like what we do together and you want to do that, get in touch. We'll work something out for you to do it, so we can build a 6-month relationship, a 12-year relationship. We could test the waters at 3 months. Well, let's have a conversation. Head to thecreativecondition.com, go to the coaching section, have a read up, fill out the form, just tell me where you're at, what you think this might be, then we'll jump on Zoom, we'll talk for 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes. And at the end of it, I think we'll both have a sense of whether this is right and whether I can help you, because I'm not just going to take you on for the sake of it. Even if I'm desperate and I'm skint, this isn't what I want to do. I want to make sure that I can bring absolute value and help to you guys on an individual basis. And if that's out of budget, if that's not an option, that's fine too. Head to the reading list, thecreativecondition.com. Check out the 300 plus episode archive of this podcast. It's all there for free to help you. That's what I'm trying to do, trying to cater for everyone. So that's it. We've got some great episodes coming up. I hope you enjoyed Caroline Christie last week talking about Bell Labs and EAT, that's experiments of art and technology, research arms of AT&T. So when corporations funded creativity, that was a fascinating chat, I think, and feedback has been great. We've got Poga Caesar coming up, UK-based photographer, done some incredible documentary photography over many years, over decades. In fact, he's a veteran of the game doing incredible work. Based in Birmingham. We're going to be getting on with him soon, talking to Amy McNee as well. She's a brilliant creativity coach also, and a writer and many things. Real champion of creativity, much like what I'm trying to do on this show. So that was a passionate chat. That's coming up. Going to be talking to David Palmer from Love, Manchester-based creative agency. We've got Rageshri Deriawan coming up on the show, talking about listening, properly listening and knowing. And she's a HIV and sexual health doctor, so that's an interesting one to bring to the show. But as you know, I like to mix it up between creative industry people and going far and wide to pull in all different kinds of takes of people using and knowing and understanding creativity. Because that's what we want to do on the show. We want to broaden our horizons, not just rely on the same conversations and fall into echo chamber, because Lord knows there's enough of them out there just now. So that's about it. Without further ado, do go and check out the ui.org.ua. That's the Ukrainian Institute. You can help these people who are locked in a horrendous wartime situation by supporting their creativity, by sharing the work you like, by maybe even commissioning them. Have a look, ui.org.ua. That's about it from me. Let's get into it with the Creative Condition Creativity Diary, instalment number 5, 13th of January 2025. Feeling, seeing, listening, deciding. Routines and schedules are largely your friend. I came through a testing week of financial panic and fierce anxiety last week, but emerging out of the worst of it, I saw the vital role of these evolutionary defence mechanisms in motion. It left me weary and wondering just how it got as bad as it did. Nothing really changed between Thursday evening and Friday morning, but as I pottered around the local arts centre, listening to Haruki Murakami, a calm came over me. And with absolute clarity, I knew what I needed to learn from this. Identify how I could turn the hurt into a new foundation, and the calm slowly shape-shifted into excitement and renewed self-belief. Routines and schedules had been lacking forever, and if I truly address that, I have all the tools to blast all the fears that sent me into tailspin out of the sky. So I got to it. Leaned on my wife to help me create some structure and identify my priorities, but when does structure and routine become the enemy? It's a big question, and I can't comprehensively answer here. But as I made breakfast this morning, I smiled and watched the kids on the other side of the room. My daughter sat on the sofa deep in concentration on a little keyboard music book, learning some basic nursery rhymes by following the numbers assigned to each music note. My son, a few yards away, talked to himself as he carefully pieced together a venomised Dr. Octopus Lego kit. As I turned to check the porridge, I noticed their school reading books. I opened my mouth to summon them to the breakfast table to start our daily read-through, but I stopped. I stopped because I recognised that interrupting this moment would be silly. They were using various kinds of intelligence, independence and imagination, developing their little brains, building self-confidence and fine motor skills, and of course, boosting aspects of their creativity. They love reading. My life is defined by storytelling and books, and they have followed suit to the point that they moan at me to do it. Well, this free play is critical, not just to kids, but to every one of us, if we are to remain attuned to our best self and our creativity. That's where secondary level education falls flat. Organisations and individuals who make room for, encourage and truly value this self-initiated exploration thrive in the age of automation. The ones who recognise the benefits of routines, schedules and moving forward with focus, but know when to hand over to joy, laughter, curiosity and play. They're the ones who don't just bang the word creativity above the door and strap everyone to a rigid schedule, but build their entire operation on the meaning of the word. The porridge was good because I kept my eye on it, instead of flapping between books and the pan. The kids were vibrant, calm, and full of questions and jokes as we ate it, and as it goes, my wife came down from her shower, and with her, they read well enough to front the CBeebies bedtime story segment. 17th of January 2025. Oh, creativity. Oh, creativity. Since I began working as a creativity coach last year, one of the biggest battles I've had is to reach people on their definition of creativity before they politely tell me to fuck off, that they're not paying me to help them with something that's already written above the door. Many businesses tell me they've spent their budget on the tools, which is AI and AI training. AI has its value, but it is made entirely of existing material. It will drag you into the sea of same if relied upon. Humans are instruments of creation, not reconfiguration. It's my challenge to smarten up and go in with a different approach. On my way to the station this morning, I let my mind wander. The old unconscious began handing me thoughts about joining dots. That's a big part of what I'm trying to do. Help people to join the dots. Only they could join, by using what's inside, their story, an utterly unique lived experience, invaluable and beautiful, and their personality, all the good, bad and downright weird. Using it with confidence, passion, a deep understanding of what they have and conscious command. Most of us don't. We bottle things, censor ourselves, conform and stay from the magic of discovery and play. That starts in adolescence as they start to dangle the words career, security and grow up in our maturing half-grown faces. But play, silliness, self-expression and curiosity are the things that keep our brains in a state in which we see the line between the dots when nobody else can. That's what sparks ideas that not just land awards in the industry, but enrich our lives and pave the way to a better future. AI is on the rise, and we're in the early stages of a revolution. Every one of us, business or individual, is at a crossroads. That sent me down some serious negative thought spirals recently, as I see it happening in real time. My industry plunged deeper into the unknown than ever before. Those who come through, organisation or freelancer, no matter how prevalent the role of AI in their practice, will be the ones who value the creativity. Understand its ways, enable it, employ it, sell it, and treat it as king fucking dick. But I'm using the fear and seeking the joy, playing, joining dots, evolving my practice accordingly. keeping my eyes open and my mind free enough from screens to bring me the solutions to the obsession with automation. And more than ever, this world must be my art school, not an oppressive machine. In 2011, I took off in a camper van to Serbia with 3 other talented friends and a video camera to make a documentary as we headed for Exit Festival. We had an idea, sold it to the Serbian British Council and worked it out along the way. Joining dots is what illuminates this life for me, so I keep following the thread. Now I get to help others out of their own way and into that awesome forward motion. January 18th, 2025, a matter of life and death. It's always a slightly disconcerting experience walking through the places in which you spent your youth, especially when you haven't lived here for 20 years. After 6 hours on trains and in stations, I opted to walk from the stations to my parents' house and allow the echoes of days gone by to wash over me. Some are tinged with melancholy, others as present as this very moment. Time has a way of converging in ground zero. There's a churchyard to my right, up above the bus shelter I've caught 1,000 buses from. All those graves and leaves, but no quiet. No quiet because there's a teenager lad on a shitty motorbike buzzing around the church and the paths between the graves. There's something I adore about this juxtaposition of the silence of death and the vibrancy of antagonism of youthful expression. It's primal and essential, and it's happening above ground, and I love how life finds a way. 21st of January 2025. Trust me. I've just wrapped up what I think might be the most fulfilling project, on a human level, that I've ever worked on. 3 years ago, Simon Dixon introduced me to Hector Ayuso, founder of Off Festival, and a man who lives for creativity. Hector booked me to speak at Off 2023, and we've since become good friends through our shared love of creativity. We spent the last few months working together to tell his story by writing and illustrating a book for Paradiso, paradisofest.com. Hector's new creative retreat and festival. The reason you're doing it called upon all the skills and personality traits I love to bring together. This is not easy. Getting enough paid work to survive in the commercial world requires people who trust the underlying creativity and my ability to sell it when the blurring of disciplinary lines often causes fear. Below is what I wrote about this in the book. I can't wait to share it with you all in late March at Paradiso. Artists are complex creatures, aliens on our own planet, revered and rejected in equal measure. In a world increasingly transfixed by data, to choose this curiosity-led life is to face resistance. Distilling a multifaceted, ever-evolving practice down to something that will convince another to pay you to do it can be challenging. Reaching those who look past the job titles to see the nature of creativity, to enable the human, is vital. In 2023, I wrote a short story about an artist suffering a meltdown, chaining himself to a lamppost with his dog's leash on a Tuesday afternoon as a tiny suburban cry for help. I wrote it for Hector Ayuso in his penultimate year at Off Festival. He loved the story and the illustrations I made to support it. This was enough for him to entrust me to tell his life story. This is Hector's way. The reason he's doing it. While I write, make art, and share the stories of others to promote creativity, I knew that under all my endeavours was the joy of human connection. That's what bound he and I, why I'm doing it. During the first 6 sessions together, Hector in Barcelona, I in Salisbury, I asked him how the fuck he held it together during those early years at Off Festival, carrying all that debt. He said, "It's the reason you're doing it." The call was being recorded, but I snatched up the nearest pen and scrawled it down. Something about this comment just screamed at me. After the call, I took a photo of this scruffy lettering and sent it to him to see if I'd been onto something with this instinctive siren. 2 hours later, he replied and told me to check my Instagram. There, tattooed on the back of his neck, red raw, is that scribbled note. I knew then that he too was an alien. So I'll dedicate this thing to him, all those he's helped along the way, and the reason they're doing it. 24th of January 2025. Listen, really listen. It's been a tough week. Every so often, I let the financial pressure of freelancing in a tough market get to me. With kids to support, this was always going to happen. But something that's helped me through is no shortage of people around me who listen, properly listen. It starts with a burst of adrenaline and then descends into an awful fight, flight, freeze state, as described in a previous post. The danger then is allowing every subsequent thought or problem, both trivial and genuinely concerning, to be sucked into this debilitating fear vortex. So I toss and I turn futilely on the couch, trying to soothe myself with Studio Ghibli films, hoping I might drift again, but I never do. Plan B is getting out for a walk and summoning reliable and wonderful friends who help me. They listen. Some have advice for the same lived experience, but listening can be enough. We live in a world of too many surface-level relationships. People without the bonds go off the edge. Loneliness is crushing. On the dog walk, I talk openly about how I'm feeling. Not only does it help me, but it opens the floor for the other person to air their grievances, and many do. We build relationships. Eventually, I get my head together and address the quiet spells, seek solutions, press on. My fiction series of short stories, Stories for the Apocalypse, was, in large part, about exactly this. A society quietly collapsing as nobody knows how to truly let it all out in the right way. Writing helps. Several friends who've suffered far worse than I preached about the importance of unconscious writing, journaling. This self-expression is key, and being heard. 25th Jan 2025. Bookshop moods. To put a bow on a challenging week, I go to London and carry out a brilliant 4 hours with Satvir Sitoha, working through her creativity in a pit-stop coaching session. Satvir is a designer who likes to illustrate in her own time, and I wanted to recenter her creativity. We split the session in two, and during the lunch break, I suggest we eat, then go to Waterstones near Tottenham Court Road station. I want to do this to observe the books she is drawn to and discuss her feelings. There are many clues about her personality and creativity in the culture that speaks to us. After we part ways, I have time to spare in Waterloo Station, so as ever, find myself peering through the Foyles bookshop window. After a while, my eyes dancing over the titles on display, I grow aware of my mood as it flips and flops according to the tone of the subjects. There's something about the Nazi mindset, topical following Elon Musk's troubling behaviour this week, and another book about factfulness, how the world looks better when you bypass the monstrous quantity of emotionally triggering headlines and doomsaying. This pattern repeats and I go inside and browse the store, and it's a reminder to nourish, not bombard our brains. While researching a book jacket illustration commission several years ago, I had to consume imagery of the Los Angeles homeless problem. It pulled me into a funk so desperate I felt utter futility in anything I tried to do. And in the next click, an image leading to an article in Positive News about a new business-backed build of tiny bright-coloured houses in rows to help the homeless community while they awaited help. Not a silver bullet, but a reminder that work always goes on to address our collective problems, and a reason to feel a modicum of hope and optimism in the battles at hand. Crucial if we wish to create from the right place with meaning. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the latest instalment. I love doing these diaries. I think it's really healthy. I implore any of you to journal and track what's going on in your brains in these challenging times. It's a massive help, and it really does help you to see what's going on and make some order of it and recognise what you can affect and what is better not being allowed to trouble you any more than it needs to if you can't affect it. You know, every decision we make is meaningful, so don't overlook what you are doing. I think this has been a tough week for me. I'm feeling better today. That might be different tomorrow, but it is challenging out there for us freelancers, for us creatives, and I love helping you lot all address that. But, you know, it's a classic thing. I struggle to turn my own practice on myself, because that's why there's value in this coaching stuff, because, you know, how can any of us see the wood for the trees in our own practice? We live these furiously paced lives, and it's kind of crazy, but I do love the mentoring work, and I sometimes have to turn to those, as I mentioned in these pieces, that can help me see my own picture with a bit more clarity. So there you have it. That is the Creativity Diary from the Creative Condition. This episode, we've got some great guests coming up, like I mentioned. The pit stop is still on offer until the end of March if you want to come and work with me and do a session. I've loved doing it. I love doing it so much. Go and have a look at the testimonials and the case studies at thecreativecondition.com in the coaching section to get a sense of the work I've been doing with people, and like the work I just mentioned in that diary entry with Satvir and at the start of the show. Loads more coming up, like I said. I hope things are good with you. Get in touch. I'm always happy to hear from listeners. Ben at bentalon.com, or hit me up on LinkedIn on the messages. Always great to hear. I had some song recommendations from someone last week. That was lovely. Discovered a new musician because of it was Ren. Have you heard of Ren? I'm always very late to the party with musicians, but that was sent to me by Terry Witherden, who is somebody I met at the NAD New Blood Festival. Terry's on her own journey, getting started again in a new chapter of her own design work, and I love these connections, so keep in touch, please do. I love all this. If you get a chance to tell a friend about the show, it's a massive help. Rating, reviewing, subscribing, also absolutely golden. I thank you for your support. Welcome if you're new. I hope you've enjoyed your debut show. Plenty more to come. Wednesdays 5 a.m. GMT, supported as ever by Illustration X. Check them out over at illustrationx.com for their wonderful illustration and animation portfolios and their news sections and their great work for the industry. Been here since day one. Nice one. Have an awesome week. Take care, guys.